When you discovered the law of attraction, you started to believe anything was possible. Life got better, much better. Now you want more, but it's not working. That's where the Manifest It Now show comes in. If you've been waiting for someone who can teach you the practical application to manifest quicker and easier while having more, turn the volume up, because the dynamic duo, Cassie Parks and Ginny Gain, are ready to teach you how to live the law of attraction like they do. It's time to laugh and learn.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Manifest It Now. I'm here with Cassie Parks.
And I'm here with Ginny Gain.
And this week, we're going to talk about how to use LOA in a crisis.
Yes. I think this is going to be a really important topic. And it was important for me to do because we did a show on, if you're good right now, it's okay to be good. And so I, just want to do this part for those of you who might feel like you didn't totally resonate with that episode or you weren't living that, which is completely okay. All of it is okay. And I think that's the thing that we want to make clear always is like wherever you are is okay.
Absolutely. That's actually how we ended that episode. So if you saw that episode title and it says, is it okay to be happy? And you kind of swore at that. What the do you mean it's okay to be happy? How can anyone be happy right now? Then this episode's for you.
Yes. I like your introduction to it.
But first, what are you excited about, Cass?
Oh, man. So I'm going to do two. I'm excited because my bedroom is newly painted and it's amazing and I love it and it feels so good. We put everything back last night and arranged some things that they just hadn't been arranged like that before. And it feels like more permanent and awesome and just like the new paint feels amazing. So that feels awesome. And then I'm also excited for next Saturday for our virtual live event.
Yes. April 18th.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't checked it out. Cassie and I are going to jump on live and meet those of you in a small, intimate gathering online. And we're going to have a live virtual event. So you can ask any questions, get all of your concerns, challenges, celebrations, guidance, clarity, get clarity on where you are, what you want with us right there, both of us at one time, and like-minded LOAers surrounding you, which at this time especially is going to feel so good.
So good. And so if you've ever wanted to ask us, certain questions, or we've been talking about a topic and you're like, wanted us to go deeper, or wanted to ask a specific question about your life, or just wanted to connect with us in the energy, and again, other LOA members of the Manifest It Now tribe, this is going to be a great experience to do that right from your living room. We'll just jump on Zoom. We'll all be on video. You can wear your pajamas if you want, or you can get dressed up if you want. That's totally up to you. And we're just going to hang out for 2 hours and answer your questions.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And where do they go, Cass?
ManifestItNowLive.com. And if you've checked out a live event before, you might have to clear your cache. If it says like an old date, just clear your browser history and go again, because it's the same link that we always use. So if you ever in the future are like, maybe you're listening to this and it's past April 18th, 2020, but you want to see if we have another event coming up. If there is one, it will be listed there at manifestitnowlive.com. So come join us, 2 hours, very intimate setting. It's not like there's not going to be hundreds of people there. So it'll be great.
Yeah, that's exciting. I wanted to comment, but you jumped right into it about your bedroom and how it's the time of home projects.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's good.
It is good. I'm excited. We're going to keep going with the painting, which is
like the whole house.
Yeah, the whole house. Like you look at all these other things. That's not what you walk into a house when you're like buying it, unless it's really, really bad. And then, but as soon as like we started moving our stuff in, I'm like, oh, this downstairs really needs to be painted. And so, it's been on the list and now there's space and time to do it. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Oh. How about you? What are you excited about?
I'm excited, speaking about this time, about Lisa and I's relationship, because we have never spent this much time together in close proximity for so consistently so long. So she works from home, I work from home, as most people are, every day, all day. And I'm loving the unfolding of it. Like, it feels so, this is going to sound so cheesy, but it feels so special to be in a relationship with her and get to observe how we grow together. It is like it's such a dream come true to grow consciously with your partner. And for anyone who hasn't found the love of their life or doesn't have that experience, like, go for that. Start opening to that. This consciously growing with your partner, because it's so fulfilling. And this doesn't mean it's always, peaches and cream, or what do they say? Roses and peaches. I don't even know the saying.
Sunshine and roses. I'm trying to think of a peach. Like, Rosie is a peach. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I think I was trying to say sunshine and roses. But it is always connected, and it is always coming from a place of love. And it was funny, the other day, Lisa and I we had a chat. We had like something in the morning, and then we were chatting in the evening, and we were like talking so softly to each other, but it was about something that was, we were clarifying a communication. Mm-hmm. And she's like, maybe it's just because we've spent too much time together. She's like, or we need space. And she's like, maybe this is us fighting. And we both died. We both laughed. So it's been really fun. And I'm excited about just being present in the evolution of it. I mean, it's only the beginning. So
that's awesome.
Extra exciting.
Yeah. It's so fun. Growing is so fun on your own, and growing with somebody is like a whole new ball game. It's awesome. Both are awesome, but it's a new fun adventure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that now that I'm thinking of it, taking this into our topic today of, just generally moving through crisis in anything, the idea that if the main idea or goal about what we're wanting isn't to live perfectly and happily all the time and have all the conditions be perfect, like, if we just take that off and we make the intention or the idea to grow, that feels so much better.
Yes.
It's such a relief. It's like, oh, okay, so my conditions are crap. I feel like crap, but nothing's wrong with that. That you immediately have access, because, like, I'm growing. Well, I know I'm growing. I can grow through here. I can't control my conditions right now. I'm not in the place to control feeling good. But I can choose the perspective that, well, I can grow through this. I can take one day at a time. I can be as kind as possible to myself. So that attitude, almost this attitude of growth versus attitude of trying to get everything right all the time.
Oh, that ties so perfectly into our topic, because I think one of the, the reason that there's a couple of reasons why I wanted to do this topic. Number one, so that we could speak to everyone who wasn't maybe resonating with that other episode, had the reaction Ginny said. And because what I know from doing this and coaching people and talking to people for a while now, years now, is that people often turn like back to their LOA practice in the middle of a crisis, whether that is sort of like on a worldly scale, or whether it's so interesting. Never mind. I'm going to say that later, but like in a personal, right? When something doesn't go right. So people often turn at like a breakup. They turn when they lose their job. They turn when circumstances get not good. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to get back to LOA, or I'm going to do this.
I'm going to go use LOA again.
Yes. I'm going to go use LOA again. Yeah. I'm going to go try and fix this with LOA, right? I have to change my life. So I'm going to go back to LOA. And so in this sort of global time that there's an experience that is touching everyone on some level, right? No matter how it touches you, it can be in a great way. Like Ginny is talking about deepening her relationship. It can be, me getting more time with my partner and us fixing up the house, all of that. It's still touching you in some way. And when it doesn't feel good, like if you did get laid off, or you're having to work.
Someone's sick.
Someone's sick. Yeah, someone's sick. Or you're still having to go to work and that doesn't feel good. Or, you're at home trying to work 8 hours a day and teach your kids and make now 3 meals a day and do all these things. Like it's,
oh my God, I'm bowing down to all of you.
it's like, yeah. And so I am bowing down to everybody. Like I don't, I've created a life where I don't work 8 hours a day. And I am really thankful for that right now because there's a lot of cooking and a lot of cleaning and a lot of practicing letters and numbers and playing games, that, didn't happen a couple months ago. And so
why does that happen? I feel like I've cooked more in this past few weeks in my life. More dishes and more cooking than...
I know. I'll be like running the dishwasher and Denise will be like, you're running it again? And I'm like,
every day.
All the time. Sometimes twice. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. And so, and whether it's a thing that is sort of touching everyone some way, or whether it's just your own personal, like, in the past, if you turned to LOA in a relationship or job, whatever, I think that's a common time when people turn to LOA. And so we want to talk about that, sort of what to do if that's you now, and also how to change that pattern a little bit.
Because that's not necessarily the most productive pattern for you in achieving everything you want to achieve in your life. In terms of, if I only use or activate or bring my awareness to LOA when there's a problem, you're literally, or when there's a large problem, you're setting yourself up for a harder journey. And sometimes that might be, actually, now that I'm saying this out loud, what a lot of people's experiences are, because they're attracted to this, because usually something's going wrong and you want something else, and creating in a place of more resistance is going to be harder. It's going to have more resistance with it. It's going to be more of a struggle. That's why, Cassie and I both teach you, like, that's not the first place to start with the hardest thing. So when you come to LOA or come back to it, when there's so much, like when in a crisis or in a trauma, then you're a little bit at a disadvantage than you would be normally if this was like a lifetime thing, if this was an always thing.
Mm-hmm. And you're also, one of the reasons, so it's harder because you're not gaining that momentum of doing it all the time. So you're not going into things that are life shifts, changes with sort of your trust muscle built up, with every, a huge awareness, like all the things that we talk about. So you're learning those, trying to learn those on the fly while you're generally, if you're coming back, like we said, you're using LOA to like change your circumstances or feel better, which is great. If that is how you found the law of attraction, how you started practicing the first time, it's when it becomes the pattern to only come back in crisis that we're really talking about. And all the reasons Jenny mentioned it's harder. Here's the other reason. If you go around and you say things like so you've kind of gotten out of your practice and you're like, oh, I want to get back to LOA. I want to get back to LOA. I want to get back to LOA. And you don't, you will, and you've created a pattern of crisis getting you back to LOA. Like you will create more crises to get you back there, because that's the only pattern you've created of how you can do LOA. Mm-hmm. And you can break that in a single time, right? Even just the awareness, like somebody just went, oh my goodness, like that's totally what I did. And that's why everything had to fall apart for me to grow. And that's, to be honest, a lot of people have that story, right? And I do think that things break apart as you grow, but it's different than having to create a crisis in your life where everything falls apart so that you can grow. It's different. Mm-hmm. That's different than growing, having things fall apart and break apart sort of intentionally, like not by your intentions, but break apart to create something new. That's different than crisis creating the growth. And if you get into that pattern of like, I can only grow in crisis, like then you have to create crisis to grow.
Yeah. And that's a big belief out there.
Oh, yeah.
Is that we have to go through crisis to grow. I want to touch on for a second that momentum that you talked about, because don't underestimate the power of momentum. So the starting, stopping is like, you know how much work it takes. Well, I'll use a small example. Like when you start, if you're going for a run and you start running, those first even few steps are the most effort. Then you kind of fall into your pace. Well, another example, like when you're starting to get your speed up in a car on a highway, you know, your engine works harder to get you going, to get up to that speed. And then once you have momentum, that's momentum and it carries you forward. And that is so, so powerful when you're practicing with LOA, because it's the momentum that makes things easier. It's the momentum that takes the effort away, gets you into that place of not trying and not having to do a lot of work and push through that a little bit of resistance to get through to that easy feeling place. It's when feelings come natural. It's when things come naturally to you, when you're naturally guided to thoughts. It's that's when you know you have momentum on your side, when you're starting to experience these things naturally without that like conscious effort. And that can't be underestimated. And that's not something that you can experience in your life if you're going, I'm going to do it, I'm going to stop it. I'm going to do it, I'm going to stop it kind of thing.
Yes.
With your practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so all of those are the reasons to not do this again. And so if there's one intention I have for this show, it's that if you are coming to LOA or you're up-leveling your practice right now, or maybe you've been listening to us but not really implementing the things that we talk about, or you've sort of been lax on your manifesting practice, my intention is that you make the decision, this is the last time I start in crisis. Like I'm not starting now in crisis to feel better. I'm starting my lifelong practice, because those are two very different things.
Goosebumps, guys, the power in that decision. Like, I'm not just doing this to get through this period of time. I'm doing this as a lifestyle. I'm doing this to own my life. I'm doing this to become deliberate, to own my power, to be everything I want to be. And you can start that now. But it's not just to get through this period.
Yes. And that decision that you make will change. We're going to give you steps. Like, even if you just came now and you're like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this for a lifetime. We're going to tell you how to do that and how to best use this time and what is the most powerful things that you can do. But deciding that ahead of time, that this is my commitment now to the lifelong, instead of I'm going to do this for right now. And really be honest, like take a little time and sit with yourself and think about that. Like, am I ready to commit to this for a lifetime, right? Because there's a lot of things you can do to feel better that, don't have to, how do I say it? You can choose to feel better and you can do some things to feel better right now, and that's okay. Or you can choose this as the lifetime, but be honest with yourself, because when you choose that, it's going to change how you go through this. If you're making that commitment and that decision, like, yes, this is the start of my official journey. Like, I'm getting on the train and I'm not getting off. That's going to change how you do everything that we're going to tell you about in just a minute.
I'm just getting so excited talking about this, because I've talked about it before, but this time is such an time of opportunity. Like, everything that's happening in the world it's like the fertile ground for transformation. Like, this is an ideal time to awaken, and for you to make that decision for yourself in this time to say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to commit to this way of living for myself. And it's going to be extra powerful because of all the energies going on. But what was I going to say? Isn't it kind of funny that we think we even have to make this decision? Like, the law of attraction is working in your life, no matter whether you use it or you decide to use it or not. And it's going to be there forever. So for the rest of your life, you're going to be playing in this vibrational world and lining up with things that are matched to your vibration. Like, wouldn't you want to make the lifetime quote unquote commitment to that, to like own that power? And not that you have to perfect it now. By goodness, no one does. It's like a lifetime of that. This comes back to the very beginning of this like growth mindset of you're deciding to make growth, make the uncovering, make the stepping into the lifelong process, the commitment. And that's just so empowering for you. It's between you and you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Because it is always working, right? And it is always affecting the way you go through things and what shows up in your life, right? So there's this big overall thing, but the little things that are inside of that, like what shows up for you, the opportunities or not the opportunities that show up, the just the intuitive hits alone, all of these things they're always happening, and it's just what you're lined up with. And so, yeah, why not surrender to the power? Or, you can choose a surrender, you can choose it to own it, like whatever words feel good to you. But choose the power of it and choose the opportunity that you have to move forward being a powerful creator.
Yeah. I like that we spent a little bit of time on the first step, which is the decision, because it's so important.
So important. And if we didn't make that clear, Ginny just said it now, like that's step one. I don't know if we officially said like step one, but that is step one, is this decision of this is the power I'm going to own now, not just sort of what I'm going to do sometimes.
This is more than because of this time.
Yes. Yeah.
So what's the next step, Cass?
My next step is not to just try and will yourself to be positive.
Yeah, this is a big one, I think, right now, and in like all crises. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah. So once you make the decision, it's to be in it. It's to feel. Part of using LOA and harnessing your power is to feel your feelings. And if you do not feel good right now, your job is like, if you are sad, angry, hurt, frustrated, like you need to feel those feelings first. And then you can start to create something new. Then you can decide what you want. But you can't decide like, oh, I'm going to be super happy even though I'm really scared. You need to feel the fear, or you need to feel the sadness, so that then you can choose clearly, like have that clear channel, instead of you're just trying to like override something.
Yeah. I was just talking to a client this morning, and we uncovered how she was like, I'm not in integrity with what I'm saying because I'm trying to be happy. I'm trying to be strong for other people. And it's that awareness. And when you feel those feelings, it's a hard thing to describe, because Cassie and I can't like tell you how to do that. You just have to be present with them and let them be okay. I find one of the most helpful things is, because almost immediately after we notice that we're feeling sad or fearful or off, like in any way, there's the judgment comes like almost instantly, like I shouldn't be feeling this way. And so if you can at least catch that, then say, oh, this is my time to let it be. This is my time to just let it be okay that I'm here. Like, this is important. It's important for me to feel right now and not try to change how I feel right away. So it often, especially when we're dealing like in a crisis, when there is a lot of fear floating around and a lot of, negativity of what could happen or these things, you can get sucked into that. And it's, I forget where I was going. Oh, it's not an overnight thing. It's not like feel my feelings and I wake up and I'm perfect. So give yourself more space than you think you need.
And I'm going to just clarify that with like, be honest about your feelings. That's step one, right? And I think sometimes if we can just be honest instead of like try to go, like feel judgment and try to go somewhere else, like honesty is important to feeling your feelings. Very early on, we had a group call, and, all my people were like, oh, not all of them, but 99% of the people on the call were like, this is amazing. This is happening. This is happening. This is happening. And one of my clients was like, I don't feel good about having to go to work right now, but I don't have a choice, and I'm like, great, like be honest about being upset about that. And let's feel that. And this is the job, right? Like this is what is next. So it's honest no matter what. It's learning to be honest about your feelings and true to them, whatever you're feeling.
And when sometimes the other fear comes in of like, I don't want to feel bad because I don't want to create bad. Well, when you are honest with how you're feeling, you are creating alignment. That is like when you honor where you're at, that creates alignment. That is good. That is what you want. It's the expression of that authentic self that you're after. It's not about trying to achieve this ideal. That's not the path or the goal.
Yes. It's also about flow. So when you are not letting, like, emotion is supposed to flow through you. Not get stuck. And when you hold on to it and you don't, and you fight and you resist it and it doesn't flow through you, you're backing up your channel. And so the good stuff, like, it's hard to create. You're actually creating more of that because it's what you're resisting. And you're also backing up the flow because you're not allowing things to flow through you. And that includes emotion.
Yep. Biggest. All right. What do you have next for the third step?
Let's see. Which way? Let's see. So we did decide. Don't make yourself a positive. Allow yourself to become aware without trying to change right now.
Yeah. Awareness.
Yeah.
So like really practicing this, I don't even want to say attention, this idea of just being aware instead of trying to make anything happen or change yourself or change the conditions or change. Like all of that creates a lot of resistance within yourself, but also there's already enough stuff happening outside that to add it should be different just adds resistance to that. So what if instead of saying change or pushing against, we just practiced acceptance, you practiced allowing and developing that awareness of yourself, so self-awareness and awareness of what's going on. Like, so what we mean when I say that is being able to observe, like say someone shopping in the grocery store and they don't have a mask and you have an awareness of like, oh, that's what's happening. And you hold back your judgment of that and you just accept that that is what it is. Okay. And move on. I'm doing what is important for me. And that's true awareness and really just practicing getting conscious about what's going on in your head. Where am I focusing? What are all my thoughts about? How am I feeling? And letting this be an opportunity for that instead of trying to fix thoughts, change thoughts, direct thoughts, anything like that.
Yeah. This is really a time just to become aware. And it's okay and it is powerful. Jenny and I are telling you, it is powerful to become aware without trying to change. Like just the awareness is the shift. It's making you more powerful and aware. And, for some people, things are slowing down. For some people, they're going faster. The awareness matters in both situations. And it is the start of creating that power because the more aware you are, like the more opportunity when we move into intention and how we want to change into choosing a new story, you're aware of what's going on.
Yeah, you have your starting point, your launch pad.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important too. Like it fits in perfectly if you kind of think of, we're in a situation where we literally can't, there's so much we can't control. I mean, we can never control conditions, but there's so much we can't control right now.
It's highlighted right now, right?
It's highlighted. Yeah. And so the more you flow with that, like you practice acceptance with that, you practice allowing, you don't try to control it, then you're going to tune into truth. You're going to feel connected to like the bigger underlying stuff that's happening here. Feel easier about it. And even if you're in so much fear, let the tiniest bit of relief feel like be enough for now. And yeah, that's what I want to say.
So would you say next, don't try and manifest the big stuff right now if you haven't been building up momentum?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just not continuing on the not trying to change anything. If you're in a place where you're kind of succumb to the fear or you feel panicked or you feel in that place, this definitely is not the time to try to manifest anything big for yourself right now. And I will put this little side note in. You can be guaranteed you're putting it out there, like, because every time you feel, the more constrained we feel, the more we're adding to the energy and momentum of the other side. And there will be a time that you can line up with that, but it probably isn't now because it would be too much work, too much to push through. And that's not how we do things. It's not how you have to do things.
Right. So instead, you can be very present and you can just choose what you need right now and become even more aware. Like, okay, I have enough food right now. I have enough toilet paper right now. I have enough this right now, right? Which is going to lead, like, if there does come a time when you need, let's say, toilet paper, you're like, you can, like, okay, this is what I need, right? But you've practiced having enough. And so that will show up easier. Right? Versus, like, I don't know, having 10 rolls and being freaked out right now, like, I don't have it, right? You can practice and put into place, like, being conscious of what you do have and what is working in this moment, like day to day. What do I have today that is great? And then just opening up to minor things, right? Not like I need $1 million, but like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to like more of what I need is going to show up when I need it. And it's just a small practice, which is going to lead to big things later on. It's in no way slowing down your manifesting.
100%. I love highlighting that. This isn't slowing down your manifesting at all. I am currently practicing that there will be enough toilet paper when I need it. We have 4 rolls left. It's coming. And that's the other thing too, is things can only come when you need them. Like, that's when you have the greatest time, and that's in the present moment. So it doesn't do me any good to worry for weeks and then receive it. Might as well just not worry and then receive it, because I can only receive it at that time that I need it. It's going to come in at the perfect time. That's how it works.
Yes. So. And this is like just being present with that and like, okay, I'm okay today. I have enough today is such a good practice for when you do, like, when you're ready to move on to the bigger things, because you remember, like, oh my goodness, we were down to, like, it was like, I don't know, 1/10 of a roll. And I was like, oh man. And then it just showed up. Like, you have that story in your manifesting bank. And the power of that is huge, because what you're actually learning is like that process of allowing and being patient and knowing it'll show up when you need it.
I love it. When in a year's time, when we get on our calls, we're going to be like, share your successful stories, or when you join our podcast group on Facebook. Oh, I remember back in quarantine when I didn't have any toilet paper and then it kept showing up.
Absolutely.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch you next time. I hope you guys have an awesome week.
Bye.
Go be awesome.
Thank you for joining us on the Manifest It Now show, where you learn how to leverage the law of attraction to manifest your dreams. Now that you're inspired, share the love and review us on iTunes. While you're there, remember to subscribe.